guys, Sue Lynn here. I just wanted to jump in really quick and remind you guys that our winter solstice giveaway is going on. It started on Friday, November 27th, running through December 11th, and at midnight Eastern Standard Time. And we are going to pick the winner on December 15th, which means hopefully you guys will get it before Christmas. I'm so excited. So I really hope you enjoy this soap. A lot of thought went into it and whether or not I should tell the story that I tell, because there is story time in this soap. So I hope that y'all stay for the story time. So I will see you guys on Friday. Bye-bye. Soap Kitchen. Today we are doing our winter collaboration with many other soap makers. This is an international collaboration, so if you don't see your favorite soap maker immediately, you will see them eventually if they are participating. This winter collaboration is all about memories. And I have Renee's email here, and she said, here are a few ideas. A childhood memory, a Christmas memory, a birthday memory, a favorite book you once read, a song that left a lasting impression, a meal or dessert you once had, a favorite toy, an experience you had, a vacation or a trip. And what had happened is in our soap collab group, we were asked if there were things that we would like to try. And soap dough seemed to be something that a lot of people wanted to incorporate. And you guys, if you've watched me for a while, you know that I have incorporated soap dough in so many, different ways, everywhere from just a little round ball to a 3D zombie mouth. I mean, you guys, if you've watched me, you know. So I'm sort of, I'm a rebel, so I'm sort of going off the path just a little bit. But one of the things is that there was a challenge. Renee wanted us, with those embeds, to make our own molds. And I have made my own molds many times. I do not use the mold kits. They are far too expensive, especially when you can go to Walmart and buy a tube of 100% silicone for 97 cents. And there's two different ways to make a mold. There's the wet method and the dry method. Now, if you're interested in seeing how that is done at 97 cents, I can go ahead and make a video. Just let me know in the comments below. But I am not only choosing a childhood memory, I'm obviously choosing a song that has left a lasting impression on me. Last week, we talked about Duran Duran when I made the Save a Prayer video. And soap, I'm sorry, when we made the video for the Save a Prayer soap. I have to tell you that ordinarily with these collabs, I have my soap done far in advance. I know what I'm doing, and it doesn't take, I'm always, 2 months ahead of everything. But this really gave me a challenge in what to share. And in the intro, I talked about story time, and we will have story time, but there's things that I have to talk about before that. Because I'm going to make hot process soap, which you guys have never seen me make my regular hot process soap recipe. But I struggled whether or not I would tell this story. So I'm going to keep it PG, because I know that there's, people who watch these soaping videos with their kids. So like I said, I'm gonna keep it PG. But I wanted to share with you, obviously my oils have not even begun to melt, but I wanted to share what's in this recipe. I use olive oil, palm oil, coconut oil, mango butter, shea butter, soybean oil, castor oil, and my special ingredient is corn oil. Corn oil is fabulous for the skin. Just like soybean oil, it helps with collagen production. And for someone who's going to be 50 in a few months, that's important to me. This is my absolute favorite recipe. This is a soap that I am not going to sell because of the personal nature of the story I'm going to tell you. This is my soap. So I've decided to make it in my favorite recipe. We're going to do it in five different colors. We're going to have a nice little swirl in there, so, or at least attempt to, anyway. But with hot process soap, in case you've never made it before, I do what's called high temperature hot process. And I suggest if you've never made it before, you start at a lower temperature. My oils and butters I don't even start mixing my lye until they're about 190 degrees. And in my lye mixture, I have 3 tablespoons of organic cane sugar and 2 teaspoons of sea salt. I superfat my recipe at 5% up front and then 5% on the back end. So after it's cooked, I add avocado oil and grapeseed oil to the mix. Like I said, this is a fabulous recipe. So I guess with that said, we're going to go ahead and let these oils, I don't know why I put my gloves on. We're going to let these oils and butters get up to temp, and we will start our story time while I'm making this soap, guys. And disclaimer about the story, I hope I don't offend anybody, but it does have a happy ending, I promise. And, you know, not all memories are good memories. It's just a fact of life. So, alrighty. I will see you guys when these oils and butters are 190 degrees. I want to jump back on here really quick for those of you who have never done hot process or maybe have never seen hot process done. I wanted to go over the 3 stages that hot process goes through. A hot process soap goes through what they call the applesauce stage, which is where the soap actually literally looks like applesauce. There can be separation in that phase, and of course you can stir it by hand to get it back together, or you can stick blend it. Either way, I personally don't get a whole lot excuse me, of applesauce stage because I soap at a high temperature. The second stage is the mashed potato stage, which the soap is the texture and consistency of a thick mashed potato. And then the final stage is what they call the Vaseline stage. And that is when the soap is starting to get transparent, and that's when you know that your lye has started to, as that process, continues, that the lye is being cooked out of the soap. This is at 158 and climbing, so we are pretty close to doing that. If you have any questions about hot process, you can absolutely ask in the comments, or you can email me. My email address is in the description box below. Also, there's a hashtag in the description box below. I'm not sure if I mentioned that the first time we were together. That all of the collab videos are going to be under, so you can go back to that hashtag and see what's been added and that kind of thing. I also wanted to tell you the fragrance that I'm going to be using. It's called Aloe Water Kelp, and you'll find out why I chose that fragrance when I start my story time. So yeah, we're almost there, guys, so I will be back. Okay, I'm going to take my lid off here and move this out of the way just for a second. As I said, that this has both salt and sugar in it, but it also is a half and half mixture of aloe vera and distilled water. So I'm going to mix my lye in here very carefully. And what we're going to do is we are going to make sure that we cannot feel any granules of the lye. And I know you guys can't really see me, but you'll be able to see the rest of the process, I promise. We're going to make sure we can't feel any lye granules, and then we're going to put it in our crock pot. Okay. Let me move this a little bit closer. I'm going to drop it down my spatula. Now, I like to get my hot process to a very, very thick trace. I find that there's less chance of it separating when you do that. So that is what Simon and I are going to do. So I'll put music over it, or I don't know, maybe just skip forward. So here we go. Okay, it kept wanting to separate on me. So, but now we're at a thick enough trace that I'm happy with it. And it looks like it's going to volcano pretty quickly. So we shall see. Okay, before we get to story time, I have to give you a little background information on some things. Oh, yep, look at that. It's volcanoing already. Now I'm going to let it do it until I can't anymore. You see it volcanoing? Yeah, you should be able to. Yep. This is why you never walk away from your crock pot when you're making hot process soap. Because like I said in the homemade melt and pour video, you can have a mess on your counter in a heartbeat. Okay, so a little bit of background. There's going to be two things you're going to learn about me from this story. First of all, you're going to learn the true and real reason why music means so much to me personally. So much so that, you know, I have created a company around my inspiration for music. And the second thing you're going to learn about me is I am not a victim. I am a survivor. Oh, look, we have applesauce stage, guys. Look at that. I actually got applesauce stage. What do you know? That doesn't happen too often. Let me grab my spatula and get the soap down in there so it can cook. Okay. So the background information, my parents got divorced when I was 9 years old. And from the time I was 5 until the time I was 12, I had, let's put this PG, I had one of those uncles. And at 12 years old, when everything came out about that, my father taught me something incredible about music. He taught me how to compartmentalize. I do it very well. My father does it extremely well. He is like the master. And he taught me how to do that with Pink Floyd's album, The Wall. You know, you have to take all of those emotions and mentally put them in the little boxes, lock them up and put them away. Now, and I understand that that's probably not the healthiest thing to teach your child, but it worked for me, and it still works for me. And 3 of my 4 children do it very well. They don't do it with The Wall, mind you, but they do compartmentalize very well. But so that's the background of this story. So I mentioned last week that my mother and my stepdad were a part of a church, and I use the word church. This is volcanoing again. I use the word church loosely because it was more like a cult, if you ask me. And there was a program through there where you sold all of your material possessions. I have some separating going on through here. Hopefully after this is done volcanoing, I'll be able to store that in. But anyway, this program, you sold all of your earthly possessions. You know, you take your clothes, you know, that kind of stuff. And then you go to this, the only word I can use to describe it is a revival. They had it once a year for a week at their headquarters in Ohio. And on the very last day, you get handed an envelope, well, if you're a member of this program, and you get sent somewhere that you've never been before, you don't know anybody, none of that kind of stuff, no job, no house, no nothing, and you have to spread the word of God, which I'm not opposed to spreading the word of God, but I certainly was opposed as a 13-year-old girl being, pulled away from my father. As I said last week, I was a daddy's girl, and, nothing was going to change that. And especially, with the fact that, my mother's new husband and I did not get along very well at all. I rebelled against everything he did, everything he stood for. I truly disliked him with the passion of 1,000 burning suns. I mean, it's just the way I felt about it. It was too much, too fast for my little brain to comprehend at the time. I know a lot of kids have trouble when their parents get divorced, and I did. But anyway, we got sent to, I can put my lid on. We got sent to West Ashley, South Carolina. And that's why I still say y'all. Believe it or not, just spending 9 months in South Carolina got me to say y'all all the time. But while we were there, because I was so unhappy, and I remember it was 1984, and the reason I remember it was 1984 is because the Detroit Tigers won the pennant that year. And being a Detroiter, even though I'm not a baseball fan, I was very proud, of our city. And, things just were terrible. The whole thing was just terrible. The family that we got sent with decided to leave. There was this big blowout. Then we couldn't afford the house we got and had to move into an apartment. I mean, it was just a big crap show. It was terrible. I hated every second that I was there. And I rebelled. Everything they told me, I did the complete opposite because that's what I do. Or did, when I was a kid. Okay, my separation is going away. We're starting to get into mashed potato stage. Let me check my temperature really quick because I did leave my lid off for a while. Oh, yeah, we're at 213. We're good. We are good. And it's this time of year that makes me think of all of this. There was a day, I don't remember what I did wrong. For the life of me, I can't remember what I did wrong. But my stepfather and I had gotten into a screaming match, and I went into my bedroom and I slammed the door. And I slammed the door because I knew he hated it. It's one of the things he hated. And he came into my room, and I was on my bed, and he told me to stand up. And I was like, I'm not going to stand up. And he screamed at me to stand up. And I'm like, okay. And he hit me. And I fell back on the bed. And he told me to stand up again. And open-handed he hit me. But again, he told me to stand up. And I was shocked. Never did I think that, he'd smack me in the face for sure. And he did it again. And my mother was standing right there, never said a word. Boy, oh boy, if some man ever hit one of my kids, he'd be in the drywall. That's all I gotta say about that. He ended up doing it 3 times, and they locked me in my room, literally shut the door and put a chair up underneath the doorknob. So I grabbed my Walkman, I grabbed some clothes, and I went out my window and across the apartment complex that we were in, and I went to my best friend's house that, lived in the apartment complex. Face all red, the whole thing. Her mom freaked because I'm bawling my eyes out, freaking out, having a panic attack all at the same time. Told them what happened. She calls the police. Well, then I get to tell my story to the police, and the police call social services. They call them, and I get taken to a shelter for abused and neglected children until my father can get custody of me here in Michigan. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Going to a shelter for abused and neglected children, I mean, you learn how easy you have it very quickly when you hear some of their stories. I mean, some of them were horror stories. I mean, complete and utter horror stories. And I was there for months. I mean, the court systems work far too slow, especially when it comes to children. Excuse me, I had to take a drink. But my dad eventually ended up getting custody of me, and I came home. But while I was there, I couldn't compartmentalize because I didn't have the wall. The tape that was in my Walkman was Duran Duran's Rio. And I said last week that My Own Way, which that's what this soap is inspired by, I've always done things. It's always been a special song to me. I've always done things my own way. I've always lived my life my own way. Right, wrong, backwards, sideways, whatever. It's always been my own way, especially with, my epilepsy and the prognosis, my diagnosis. I always make sure to tell everybody I love them when they're leaving, coming, go. It's just very important to say what you mean and mean what you say, to have that integrity. I'm not the person to ask if you look fat in that dress, because I'm going to tell you the truth. And, part of all of the hypocrisy that I was raised with, I never have lied to my children. My children never believed in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and, all that stuff, because it was a lie. And I wasn't going to let my children believe a lie. I wasn't going to be the one to break their hearts, And so here I have Duran Duran's Rio in my Walkman. And Simon Le Bon is the primary lyricist for Duran Duran. His lyrics are poetic, but very, very vague. So you can pretty much put your own spin on pretty much anything that he wrote early in their career. I mean, he's much more direct now, because they are still making music, and still making great music. We are almost there, guys. Yeah, almost there. We got a little bit of mashed potato in there, but anyway. Oh, need paper towel. I just got water all over my counter. You know what, speaking of Simon, let me get Simon out of here, because I'm not going to need him anymore. But anyway, so I learned to adapt and be able to compartmentalize to the Rio album in that particular situation. So I taught myself how to compartmentalize with different music for different situations. Does that make sense? I hope so. There's been albums, since then that have completely changed my life, completely changed the way I see things. All of that. Music is just so amazingly therapeutic. I can't begin to tell you how incredible it was. But many years later, my mother, by the way, didn't speak to me for 2 years after all of this happened. Like, literally did not speak to me for 2 years. And my stepfather was the one, look at guys, we're done! My stepfather was actually the one that encouraged my mother to start speaking to me again, especially when they found out I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, Brandolyn. And, you know, like I said it in a spring video, my mother and I had a tumultuous relationship, but I loved her. She was my mother. You know, it's just how it was. You know, I don't understand how you can stand by and watch watch what happened to your child happen. I would never stand for it, that's for sure. But you know, everything got fixed, and we were good for a very long time. And my stepfather, whom I hated with the passion of 3,000 burning suns, ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. While all this time, I'm going to take this out of the pot here. Let me unplug my crock pot and get this out of here. Hold on one second. You know, he's the one that taught me that if you don't work, you don't eat. You know, you have to work hard. You have to do things the right way. You have to have, you know, integrity. You have to be a good person. So all of these things that I detested about this man when I was a child, I cherish as an adult. I'm not going to cry, but I love him so much that I can't even describe it. I can't. I mean, he's an incredible man, and I love him very much. So like I said, there's a happy ending to this story, but the important thing is that this album, this Rio album, My Own Way, screaming it at the top of my lungs with headphones on, helped me to get through one of the toughest parts in my life. And I can say that about music with every tough part in my life. So now we have to let this, yep, it's 2:02. We have to let this cool down, and I'm going to pull myself together so we can move on, guys. So I hope that wasn't too personal of a story, of, you know, but that's the story. So I will go into everything else we're going to do after my temp comes down. I have to be under 180 degrees to add my fragrance, and we will go from there. So I will see you in just a few. I forgot to say that I always cover this with saran wrap, that way the moisture stays in. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to add our additional super fat. So this is both avocado oil and grapeseed oil, and we're going to mix this in really good. There we go. By the way, I also do, this is what would be considered fluid hot process. As you can see, my batter is very fluid. And beautiful. I love making hot process soap. It's been a while. I mean, yeah, I did the hot process technique to, you know, to do the melt and pour, but, you know, it's not my true hot process recipe. Oh, let me take a temp really quick. Okay, we're at 184, so after I add my yogurt. Now, when you're adding any kind of yogurt or, you know, that kind of thing to a hot process soap, you need to stir it very quickly because you don't want your yogurt, milk, or whatever it is you're putting in there to cook, because that would be gross. definitely don't want it to cook. Oop, just got soap all in there. Okay. Let's check the temp one more time. I'm not sure I'm going to need to add my simple syrup, as I still have my fragrance to put in here, and all of my micas are mixed with water, not oil. Okay, let me add my fragrance. This fragrance, on the website, it says it rices in cold processed soap. That's one of the reasons why I chose to, oh, smells good. It's one of the reasons I chose to do it in hot process. Plus it's an oceanic fragrance, so I would imagine that it accelerates. And I chose the oceanic fragrance because that shelter I was in was very near to the beach, and you could definitely smell the water from there. Yeah, I'm not going to have to add, sometimes I have to add an ounce of simple syrup, but I don't think I'm going to have to this time. Now, I have my cups for color to the side. Let me get all this stuff out of here so I can actually, like, you know, have room, because I'm not sure you guys are going to be able to see everything if I don't. I'm going to put that to the side. Okay, so you can still see that. I have these cups filled with hot water. I dump them out. Okay. Now I just need a little bit. Pull this back. Just need a little bit for the blue. Okay. And I always put cling wrap over everything so I'm not losing moisture. Okay, this is gonna be the black. I don't need much for the black either. And I'm gonna put a picture in the corner somewhere to show you what my inspiration was. My inspiration is the album cover for Duran Duran's Rio. Okay, and then I need some white. And the last color, I just need a little bit of that too. I think that'll do. Well, maybe I'll use that for the blue. I'll use that for the blue. The blue is the, oh, I don't, let me pull this off and stick this right here. I'll mix that blue really quickly. And well, it's sort of like a blue purple, and I don't need to add all of it. Let's see what color that gives me. Can you guys see? Yes. Let me turn this light a little bit. Does that help? I hope so. Woo! Color growing everywhere, guys. Oh, that turned it gray, so we need a little bit more. And any of this extra color I will keep. I will put in. That's perfect. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. All right. So there's our blue. Lord. Okay. This is going to be our other red color, which is actually plumberry pink. I'm spilling color everywhere. And it went on the counter, it went on the floor. Yep, it went everywhere. Okay, and then the black and the white. I'll do this one in the black. Let me grab a paper towel. Ugh. Of course, the plumberry pink's got to be the one that. Need the black. This is activated charcoal. And it needs to be very, very black. That's perfect. Okay. And then the white, and then we'll do our main color. And then we're good. We will be good to go. Let's get this in here. Okay. Can you believe I have the house to myself, you guys? My daughter and her husband and the kids moved out, and it's a Friday night, so my husband is bowling. So let me move these colors out of the way here so I can color the main batch. And look at that. That's still moist because I had it covered. The stuff on the spoon, which is a good thing. Okay. Now, this is our main color. I really hope it's the right color. I really, really hope it's the right color. If not, we'll be okay. It's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world at all. Yeah, it's a little light. But, like I said, not the end of the world. Like I said, I'm not going to sell this soap. This is my own personal stash. Yeah, it's a little light. That's okay. Okay. Let's get started. Let's get our mold in here. Put this over here. I'm going to start with this. And this is all pourable. That's the great thing about fluid hot process soap, is it is all pourable. Okay. Sorry if I'm jiggling you. Alright, let's get our black. We are going to, we have a lot of black. I really didn't want that much black. But, like I said, not the end of the world. Maybe I'll do something with the rest of that black. Let's put this other pink color in. I hope there's enough of a difference. Yeah, there's enough of a difference there. And we're going to put all of this pink color in. And the white is going to go on top of that. I'm going to leave some white for the top. And we need our blue. All the blue is going to go in there. Isn't that beautiful? I really love this purple blue. This is like, there's a part in the album cover in the corner that's this blue color and some lines that go through it. That the artwork on this is so cool. Okay, let's get the rest of this out of here, or at least some of it out of here, so I can put it on the top. and then swirl it. Okay, I think I'm going to use my hanger tool. I hope I'm not moving you guys. Let me bang it down. Hope I'm not jiggling ya. This is going to be hot, 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 hot. Woo! Hot. Hot, hot. Okay, paper towel. Oh, that's going to be a beautiful swirl, guys. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let me get the rest of this out of here. And put a pretty top on this. Okay, put the white on this side. Oop! Dropping stuff everywhere. It's starting to set up because it's cooling off. Hopefully I'll be able to get the rest of this on there, get a nice swirl on the top. And guess what, guys? I did it my own way. I can find my own way. Okay, I better stop before YouTube gets me for copyright. I'm going to put a link to the audio for this song in the description box below, so you can hear the song if you haven't heard it before. Okay, I'm going to take my chopstick and get this in here and beat this down really quick. One more time. Okay. Look at that. Okay. All right, guys. I am going to put this to bed for the night, and we will cut this. I mean, it'll be ready to cut in a few hours, but we're going to cut it tomorrow because it is getting late. So, and my hubby will be home soon, and I'll have to feed him dinner. So, yeah, this is my own way. Can you see? That's so beautiful. Should I put glitter on it? Oh, why not? I like glitter. I like glitter. Okay. Let me spray it with some alcohol because there is some black on the top of that. Alright. Alright, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Hi, guys. One thing I wanted to show you because we only talked about it. I didn't get a chance to show you. This is the dry method of making molds from the 100% silicone that I buy in the tube for 97 cents at Walmart. These are Teddy Grams. These have little impressions of teddy bears in them. Hopefully you can see that. So this is the dry method. Now I didn't like, because it's not very flexible, I didn't like the dry method at all. But I do, however, like the wet method. We have goldfish. There, you can see it better with my hand in front of it there. We have goldfish, and we have Swedish fish. We have lifesavers, and you actually can see the word lifesavers on these. It's incredible. I have my Oreos, and you can see the Oreos. Now these were all obviously made with the actual food. This is one of my favorites. this is my Macaron Mold, and this is my 12th one, so yeah, I could only fit 11 on this one. But with these molds, not only can you use soap in them, my macaron mold in particular, I make Tutti Frutti, which is the Fruit Loops fragrance. I make that in wax melts, and yeah, so this also does really well with wax. So like I said before, if you want to see how I do the wet method or the dry method, like I said, I don't prefer to do the dry method, but I'll do it and I'll show you how it works. But these are so much cheaper to produce. All of these molds that I just showed you were 2 tubes of, or no, I'm sorry, 3 tubes of, so $3 to make these molds in comparison to what mold kits cost. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous what they cost. So, okay, let's unmold my own way. I'm going to pull you back out, and I'll bring you down off the tripod to cut it. So let me just pop her on out of there and set her on my cutter. Okay, I'm going to take you guys off the tripod. Be right back. Okay, let's get this cut. Oh, wait a minute. I need parchment paper on my cookie sheet. Sorry about that. Should have done that before it came on. Okay, piece of paper towel. Now, because this soap is just for me, I'm not taking an end piece off. Oh, slid too far there. So look at that. Look at how pretty that is. OMG. Oh, I love it. It's beautiful. And you know what? It's kind of funny. I was thinking about it after I had told you that story and whatnot, that I left out a few things. Right? Oh my goodness. Could be a teacher. I love this blue through here. Look at how gorgeous that is. Oh, I love, maybe I will sell this. It's too beautiful. But anyway, I wanted to share that as far as like Pink Floyd's The Wall goes, because we talked about how that was the album that my father taught me how to compartmentalize to. I only listen to that album when I'm having issues. My kids even know, Mom's listening to The Wall. We need to leave her alone until she figures it out. So it's just the way it is. But Rio, on the other hand, the Duran Duran album that I learned how to compartmentalize all of that stuff that happened to me in South Carolina, I can listen to just for fun. It doesn't always bring me back to that time, but I know I've said it in recent videos that I've been listening to a lot of Duran Duran lately, so it made me think about, you know, that whole time in my life. So, and as you can see, as far as like the soap goes, I got no air holes. It's absolutely beautiful. It's solid. I will let this cure for 2 weeks, well, 10 to 14 days. I mean, it could be used right now, but I like to let the water, you know, come out of it more. And I wanted to tell you really quick before we finish 2 little trivia pieces about Duran Duran. And one of them is that their drummer, Roger Taylor, their guitar player, Andy Taylor, and their bass player, John Taylor, are no relation. How cool is that, to have a band with 3 members with the last name Taylor and they're not related? And the second brilliant fact about Duran Duran is Duran Duran is the only band that has ever hit the #1 spot with a James Bond song. Paul McCartney didn't do it, Madonna didn't do it, Adele didn't do it. I mean, it's incredible. They still hold that record. They are the only band in the history of James Bond movies to have a #1 single. And the single's called A View to a Kill, just like the movie. And it was like the worst James Bond movie ever. It was Roger Moore's last go at being James Bond. So, okay guys, that is my own way. And don't forget to check out the hashtag in the description box below for all the other winter collab videos. And I'm going to put the song, the like audio version of the song, in the description box below too. So you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will see you on Friday. Bye bye.